Heading into the 21st century, we realize that the world is facing a lot of crises. Crises that are decades and even centuries in the making. Crises which were created by the systems we enforce. And crises which can put our very existence in jeopardy. The COVID-19 pandemic became the final straw, as all the issues that we've been ignoring all came to light, signaling that now is the time where we have to act as one and act quickly. Discovered throughout this process that all issues are related to one another, and by solving one of those problems, we pave the way for solving the rest. We reiterate the importance of justice to make it at the center of everything we do. We need programs, platforms, and ideas that would benefit everybody and the earth. At the heart of that, we need to teach our children to do the same in order to carry this sustainable world into the future. We strongly agree that education is the best platform to achieve that.
Thank you for sharing that, Tristan. Now I'll be discussing our goal. Our goal is for school leaders and advocacy leaders globally to reimagine today's education while addressing social issues and sustainability. We must help them see what all of us are really going through and where our actions are actually leading us to. They are leaders. They have the power to guide communities and make very important decisions. We hope to tap on them so that their authority will be used for the betterment of all. Get people to talk about this, get them to act on it, and mobilize many to achieve collective will. And what better way to build a passionate, united, and caring group of people? School communities, empowering and educating the youth. More than the power that leaders have, there is an unlocked capability that can only be achieved by the people, by inclusive movements. And we believe that's the most compelling, and you can probably agree on that too.
Hi, so I'm Brent. So let's move on to our first objectives and virtues. So one, unity. Conduct a two-day forum for school leaders and other advocacy leaders to share their experience or programs implemented and to listen to experts on climate crisis and sustainability education. To learn what they already doing this for this and what else they can done to build on existing efforts, to see what they have done and what we can do to help them to see the social aspect as well and how everything is interconnected. We think that this is important as institutional leaders. We need to engage them and affirm them so that they could be more open to adopting changes in their respective groups. Second point, invite at least 300 of school leaders and 50 advocacy leaders from different regions in the Philippines and the globe. We recently went to the Global Just Recovery Gathering. We saw that there are more than 500 participants there, and being a small community and school, we had decided to host only the specific amount of number. And lastly, to appreciate the diversity of each country to cultural presentation. We also want to see that almost every member of the country to represent their culture and to see a difference of how student leaders in different parts of the world act.
So for understanding, we plan to conduct breakout sessions for a set of participants who have a common interest in a topic such as mental health, global digital citizenship, and economic literacy. So by organizing breakout rooms, we let school leaders realize and understand how topics like these are im- how topics like these are important in achieving sustainability, as we learned that sustainability is not just in climate change but in many other world issues. We need to solve these issues right now.
Like what Brent said, we are going to have 350 leaders as participants. And like the summit, we plan to also have a place for leaders to communicate, chat with each other, talk about their plans, etc. Basically, to socialize. We also plan to conduct workshops like the gathering we attended, depending on what their interests are: economic literacy, human rights, leadership, and those groups. All the topics given will be somehow connected to climate change and climate action. These workshops may help them to start up the school leaders' school programs.
Okay, for the next one is commitment. Our objective is to discuss policies which can be implemented in schools. We want these policies to be implemented not just for the first months or just be a policy that is only written and not being done. We want the students and school leaders to practice these policies, to be committed to change for the better of their school and for the world.
Our last virtue is hope. So we want to inspire one another to create an education system that addresses sustainable development and to determine the next steps of action to reach a wider audience. So with this virtue, we want to convince people that there is hope, but this hope will only be achieved if we take action against global issues.
Okay. Thank you for the school leaders for explaining our goals and objectives. Advocating for change helps a whole lot, and we've seen groundbreaking effects and shifts from doing so. But we also need to go beyond. We need to start actually implementing learnings in our lives in schools, educations, policies in our communities, and in our culture eventually. There is no single solution for climate change, and even if some solutions may bring more impact, all solutions must be pursued.
We've heard many learnings and quotes from the presenters earlier. By the way, thank you for the wonderful sharing. I remember one, I think this is by GDC, which was focus on care rather than production. And I think we can relate that to the school systems as well, not just, those corporations and companies. We can relate that to something I learned from the gathering. It's said that reform the idea of progress and advancement. Many want to progress, but do we question if it's sustainable? We want that to be always part of the question. And as said in the article, how can we implement education for climate action and climate justice? Decision makers must understand that they should not stop, but rather at a single education reform, but enable multiple policy pathways, unlock the financing mechanisms, and unleash the networks of educators and civil society organizations to transform education as we know it. 2021 must be the year that we accept the challenge and responsibility of doing education differently. So that is all for our presentation. I hope this gave you a whole lot of insights for what we want to achieve for this conference, and I hope you feel the passion that we want to invoke.